And like I said, it's so cool what you're about to see. You can put a list inside of a dictionary, and you can also put a dictionary inside of a list. All right, watch, you're gonna see it's crazy. And as a matter of fact, I'll go back over here so you can see it. This right here is an example of a dictionaries inside of a list. So we have one row, which is some dictionaries, but like they're all inside of this one list. And you're going to hear this term a lot, JSON. This is what JSON looks like. It's literally this same structure right here, but as a string. JSON is used to pass data around the internet, right? To pass data from the front end to the back end or the back end to the front end. And that's how it makes it into that table, right? That table you just saw here, it got there because most likely some JSON, or it could have been a different format. It could have been something like XML, but let's just say it was JSON. And JSON, it stands for JavaScript Object Notation. That's not that important. It's just like getting used to hearing JSON and just knowing it's literally a object. It's an object. It's a list with dictionaries inside of it, and a dictionary may have lists inside of it. So you'll hear about that a lot more. But I just want you to know it's not like you have to learn a whole new language. If you know lists and you know dictionaries, you already know JSON. Period. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing a lot of JSON, especially because we're going to be like building out these APIs. So in APIs is like accessing data on the back end, and then the back end has to pass something back to the web interface or to the mobile interface, whatever the user interface may be, for example, and it's usually passed back and forth with JSON. It's really taken over in the last, I don't know, since I started learning how to code. Once I started really getting into code, I could tell it was kind of big. It was growing. This was back in 2010. So I'm sure it was like, it came out maybe a few years prior, but it picked up a lot of steam. Now it's like status quo. Okay. So let me pull my terminal back up. Liking this so far. Liking this. Look like you guys are following along pretty good. Chris said JSON is great. Some people call it Jason. I'm not sure. You guys just be careful. Don't mark my words. I say JSON. Some people say Jason. So that's one of those conundrums in the tech world, like GIF and GIF. People just agree to disagree. Okay, what else I want to talk about? So yeah, we jumped right into list and dictionaries. We're going to continue to talk about those. Strings, I think they're pretty straightforward. I'm going to give you some reading on them, but they're pretty straightforward. Like they're literally just like just phrases or names, key terms. For example, school name equals, this is an example of a string. Okay, right? School, this is another example of a string. Founding date. All right, so that's it. That's really a string. Strings, the good thing about Python is you don't have to declare a type, right? So I don't have to, like in some languages, say var string school name, right? I don't have to do any of that. Literally just type the variable name and then give it a value, and Python will figure out what that value is. The way it figures out is it has this function called type, right? So you can literally use this built-in function. You type, and then you type in any variable here, right? Or any number or any literal. You can put anything you want here. If I type school name, it's going to tell me what the type is. It's a string. This is how they represent a string, str in Python, right? If I say, what is the type of 20? The number, it's an int. Okay, if I say, what's the type of 20.2? It's a float. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Let me see, I could type in type of my personal info. It's a dict. So that's really cool. So dynamically, as you create these things, Python worries about the type in the back end, which is cool. And like I said, these things come with different functions, right? They come with different things already built into it. So we really need to study the language and see what can we do with Python strings? What can we do with Python dicts? What can we do with lists? because this is how you write these complex algorithms. Okay, so let me show you, for example. Let me give you an example. If I wanted to, let's say I had somebody enter some information into my website. They gave me their bio, and it says, my name is Jake. I'm a freelance. Okay. So they typed in that sentence right there. And usually what we do when people type data into our information, into our website, when they type information into our website, we want to check it first. We want to make sure that they didn't enter any like code, because if they put code into a text box, they're probably trying to hack your database, right? We want to make sure that it's not just empty, a lot of different things. Another thing we like to do too is, let me make sure I pull this up here. Another thing we like to do is we need to make sure that they actually like clear the white space out. If you look at that string of this type, do you see all of that extra text at the beginning or at the end? Well, we can actually just like remove that if we want, because if I type bio, you're going to see all that extra space. Some people do that sometimes. Also, they didn't uppercase the first letter. There's different ways in Python that we can like change something. So watch this. I can say, if I want to strip that white space, I can do something like bio.split, right? Or strip. And it's going to like strip the white space around. So now bio doesn't have anything. You see that white space is cleared up. Now the original, if you notice, still does have it, right? And this is key right here. You know, oh man, Alex, you're crazy. I wonder if you guys know why this doesn't change. If I type in bio.strip, the white space disappears. If I don't, it doesn't disappear. Do you know why? Yeah. So this is the key thing that you want to know. Certain functions, they return a value. So .strip is a built-in function that will automatically remove the white space at the beginning and end of a string. However, it creates a brand new string. So if you want that new string, you need to do something like create a new variable. Bio stripped equals bio.strip, right? So now look what I'm doing. I'm creating a function. I'm calling this function bio.strip. It's going to strip that white space and then store it into my variable called biostrip, right? So the original variable bio does not lose its original value. That's key. That's one thing to really be key about, all right? It does not lose its original value. Now, if I type in biostripped, you'll see biostripped. It does. It has its own value. It's now the strip version of biostrip. I mean, of bio, sorry. Yep, exactly. So yeah, there's a few different things you could do. If we wanted to make all of the text, let's say we want to do biostrip upper. This is another built-in function. Look, it makes all of the text uppercase. But a lot of the times what you see is you see websites doing, or APIs doing biostrip.lower. Somebody entered an email address into a website. They just make it all lowercase because emails addresses aren't case sensitive. So if you wanted a way to like easily make all of the text lowercase, so you don't have to compare strings and see like, oh, is this equal to that? Even though the first letter is uppercase here and the last letter is uppercase here, all you have to do is just make it lowercase and then compare. Okay. So if we want to do something like first name equals and so on, right? If I type that in, but then in the database, it has stored right? We need to know if these things is true. Let's see if first name equals name. False, right? First name is not equal to name, right? These two variables are not equal. I did a double equal sign here to see if they're equal, and it gave me false, okay? But if I did something like this, first name dot lower equal to name dot lower, are these two things equal? True. So it's true because I made them both lowercase first. And now you got a lowercase Antoine is equal to a lowercase Antoine. Makes sense. So that function is another one that's built in. All right, upper is another one that's built in. Something else I want to show you guys. Bio stripped is my name is Jake. If I wanted to, I could say bio stripped dot replace anywhere you got a Jake. Replace it with oh, hold on one second. Replace it with Antoine. Let's see if that works. Okay, so now let's say my name is Antoine. I'm a freelance developer. I work for free. Hire me, please. Right, but bio stripped, once again, it didn't change the value. So you see bio stripped dot replace. I should have stored it if I want to, right? If you want to actually change it, you want to store it in a new variable. So bio strip, oops. Okay, so I can store this into a variable by saying new bio equals, okay, then just type new bio. There you go. My name is Antoine. I'm a freelance developer. Hire me, please. Okay. Yep. You'll definitely be able to watch this video again. Oh, okay. I think you're talking about chaining functions. So Montrese said, can you use multiple functions like lowercase and then strip? So check this out. Let me see. Bio is like that. Okay, cool. So we can say lowercase stripped bio equals, right? Lowercase stripped bio equals bio dot strip dot lower. Boom. So this is called chaining functions. So you can do bio, then you can, because it's a string, you can call a function on that string. One of the built-in string functions is strip. And I'm gonna show you a lot more. I'm gonna give you a list of more built-in functions, right? That's gonna bring you back a new string though. It returns a new string like I showed you multiple times with this equal sign, right? It returns a new string. Same thing here. This stores a string. So because it's a string, now we can call another function on that string, which is lower. Now we can call lower. So first we make it, so we strip it, then we do lower, and now when I print it, you'll see everything is lowercase and it's stripped the white space from around it. So yes, great question, Montrese. You can chain these functions to each other. Okay. Ebony said, this is amazing. It really is though. Python is so user-friendly. Getting SQL nostalgia watching this. Cool. All right. So yeah, I can't wait to dive deeper into this stuff. And like the function, I mean, the pages that I'll be sending you to, it's going to give you more details. So that way you can really like understand these and practice it and put it into use. For example, there's ways like to access things in a list from the reverse way. So let's say, what is my list again? My list was called, let's say my list is favorite users equals some list. And I can say Mark, Sam, who else? Right? So boom, these are like my favorite users. So what we can do is if I wanted to access the last one, let's say I wanted to point at the last one in the list, I can do something like we call my variable equals favorite users never -1. Boom. Right. So this -1 says start from the back and then work your way over. Right. Another one would be if I do -2. Right. What is that going to do? It goes back over 2. So that's this is like accessing your indexes and getting it in different ways. You can access it from the front, you can access it from the back. You can even access a range, right? If I wanted to get the 2 in the middle, right? I can do something like that. So let's say 2 faves equal, watch this, favorite users, and I can say 1 to 2. I think this is it. Hold on. It's a dang. I think. Let me see. I always get confused with this. Hold on. Let's see if I got it right. Yeah, I didn't get it right. So this is the thing. When you get in a range, you need to. The 1 is the first index you want to start at. So 0, 1. So it's going to start at Samantha, right? And it's going to bring whatever's in that range. It's going to put it into a new list. So that's why you see these brackets right here. So, but the key thing to remember is the number on the opposite side of this column is where you want to stop at, but not including. That's the thing. So 1 to 2 means index 1 and index 2, not including 2. So if I want to get the 2 faves, I need to do index 1 to index 3, not including 3. So that should work for me now. There we go. Okay. So it's pretty cool. So it's like if you want to access just the ones in the middle, this is one way to do it. So that's pretty cool. I like stacking Uno cards. Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. Stressless goodness. I totally wish I started out with Python first. Geez, I would have saved a lot of time and many headaches. That's true, but I'm telling you, that's maybe. I really think everybody should start off with a different language besides Python first. There's another language out there too, other languages out there that are pretty simple too, like this. But don't start there because then you won't really appreciate the simplicity, right? You want to appreciate the hard work that the Python creators had to put in to make this so, just smooth and like easy to digest. So like a light bulb. Let's get it. That's great because we got some good things planned for y'all. Y'all can kill this Python thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. So much opportunity. Let me see how we looking on time. I want to make sure. So as you see, I can go deep into these objects all day. Like there's so many built-in functions. I just really don't have time to go over all of them, but I really want to show you like how to do it, how to get certain things. One more thing I'm going to show you with dictionaries, right? Remember our dictionary was, let me see, my personal info, right? Right, this is our dictionary. If I want to get something, one way I told you was to do like this, and you can then give the key name, date of birth, for example. Another way would be to do my personal info, then .get, and then you can put it in there as well. So date of birth, and you can do it. So it's a get function. So if you don't remember this way, how to access it with the brackets and the quotations, they give you another way. Another way it may be easier for you to remember. Get, right? You can get something with the built-in get function for dictionaries. This is for dictionaries. Okay. You can also update a dictionary by doing something like my personal info, right? And do, so whichever key you want to update, let's say I want to update the date of birth, right? I can do that and then do equal sign. So you're saying like, it's kind of treating it like a variable and you about to assign something to this specific key in your dictionary, okay? You're about to assign something to this specific key in your dictionary. So to the database key, to the date of birth key, the new value is, my bad. The new value is not 1/1/1990. It's actually 1/1 the year 2000. Okay, boom. So now when I type in my my database, my dictionary, you see the date of birth has been updated. because I updated it with this line right here. So this is when I give you an example, right? In homework assignment that says, you know, store the information into the dictionary. This is what I mean by store the information into the dictionary, right? You type the dictionary name, you tell which key, even if this key didn't exist, you can also do something like this. And I could say middle initial, right, equals L, right? And now when I type in my personal info, boom, a new key is already added. So you can build on top of this list really dynamically as well. So for example, as the users entering information into your website, every time they enter something, you can just add it to your dictionary, and then save it to a database. So really cool. Okay. See what time we looking like and what my battery looking like. Okay, we working 50%. And then we had how many minutes? 45. Let me see. Talked about int strings. We talked about a dictionaries list. I want to talk about tuples. Also wanted to talk about casting, and then also just talk a little bit about. I want to show some to the exercise. So let's do it. We got 15 minutes. We can make this happen. So really quick, first of all, let's talk about tuples, because tuples are like this really structured, more specific type of order collection, right? We got the data, we got the dictionaries, we got the list, and then we also have the tuple. And the tuple is also ordered, but it's unchangeable, right? A list, I told you we can change. A dictionary, I told you we can change, right? We can add new stuff. We can remove things from it. We can kind of update the values. A tuple is not the same case, all right? And it does, excuse me, it also doesn't have, curly brackets or square brackets. Instead, it uses parentheses, okay? So if we wanted to create a tuple, we would do something like, what would we store? Like kind of like these, let's say it's a simple list for now. So I say legends, and we do something like, right? Okay, so this will be a tuple right here. This is just an example of what a tuple look like. All right, so if I just type in legends, you see it gets printed back out. Okay, so if we want to access these, it's pretty much just like a list, in the sense of you can just say which index you want to access, and it will pop up. So Nipsey will be at the 0 index, Malcolm X will be at the 1 index, Kobe Bryant will be at the 2 index, Madam C.J. Walker will be at the 3 index. All right, so I type a 3, and then boom, it prints out that 1. So if I ever wanted to just say like, I want to make a variable for Madam CJ, I would do legends 3, and it's stored into that variable. Okay. You can also access it like a list, in the sense of accessing it backwards, like using negative numbers and start from the end and start to access them. You can do the range thing where you can say, what is the legends? And then you can say everything from 1 to 4, boom, and then it prints out those. Okay. It's kind of crazy. It's just like it. There's one other thing. It's not immutable, right? Excuse me. They are immutable, which means unchangeable. And so what that means is like I can't update it, right? It's not an easy way just to update it. So for example, let me see. If I say legends 3 equals if I wanted to change this to Bill O'Reilly, error, not working. Okay, he's not a legend. So this is what happens, right? It gives you the error and lets you know. It lets you know. So in your code, you can like pretty much account for this. If somebody ever tries to make this happen in your code and like add a tuple and assign a value to a tuple or change a value in a tuple, error will be thrown. So you can catch that error. We're going to talk more about that in a second. Not in a second, but in the next lesson for sure. Error handling and error exceptions. So yeah, you cannot update it. Okay, you cannot update it. Immutable. If you hear that word, IMMUTABLE, immutable. It just means you cannot change a tuple's value. Okay, but I will show you a workaround. Any questions? Can you pull up a list of all your dictionaries? Yeah, yep. You can definitely create a list of dictionaries. Yep. Oh, you want me to? I think you're saying you want me to. You want to see it? Yeah. Right. Munir, what you mean, man? Let me know how you feeling. Let me know how you feeling so far as it's clicking. I just don't like to make the videos too long because I'm telling you, the replays you never want to go back to. You like, that video was an hour and 50 minutes. What the heck? Okay, is that the list you wanted to check out? I'm gonna show you guys how to loop through list, loop through tuples, dictionaries. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah. That's what Alex said. It's like you can't change certain things like days of the week. So if we had a tuple with days of the week, we want that to stay the same always, right? So that's why a tuple will be really useful. Great example. It's like we don't want to, that's not changing. That's immutable. The days of the week aren't changing. We all know Sunday through Saturday are the only days. So I think that's also pretty cool. So once again, you can't, once it's created, you cannot add items to it. So keep that in mind, and you cannot remove items from it. But you can, so for example, this list right here is what the list is going to be once it's created. You can't add anything to it. You can't remove anything. Okay. If you want to, you can totally delete a tuple by typing DEL and then the name of the tuple, legends, right? And if I type legends now, nothing pops up. It's not defined. Okay. So pretty cool. But what I did want to show you was how to get around manipulating it. Let me see. So if these are the legends, right? What you can do is you can turn it into a list, right? Turn it into a list and then manipulate the list and then turn it back to a tuple. Watch this. So legends, right? This is what legends look like. It's a tuple. You see the parentheses. So it's non-changeable. But what I could do is I could say legends. I could say new legend. I'm gonna say legends as list. Let's be specific. Equals, watch this. It's a built-in function in Python called list. And you just wrap it around whatever you want to turn into a list, right? And then we say legends, right? It's a function. So now legends as list is now a list. You see the square brackets? That signifies it's a list now. So now a list is mutable, meaning you can change it. So now I can say legends as a list, and I want to add a new one to the end of it. So now I want to go to index number, because we got in programming, there's ways for you to automatically like type in what the last index is. It's pretty cool. 0, 1, 2, 3. But we're not, that's going to take a little bit more. We get to there. So let me see if I can just add it like that. And then I want to add another legend. Okay. Who should I add over here? I'm going to go with Asata Shakur. Okay. Let's index out of range. So why do you think it's not possible for me to add that there. All right, so I hope you got your answer. You don't have to type it in the box because you cannot assign a value to a index that has not already been defined. So you cannot do 4 because we do not have a fourth index. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to add an item to the end of it, you do something called append, and you do that by saying legends as list dot append, and then you append the variable or the data that you want to append to your list. Okay, so now, boom, now it's added. So append is a built-in function for list, and that's how you add things to the end of the list. All right, it's pretty cool with that. Also, if you wanted to, we can add things into a specific spots, right? I could say legends as list, and I can say insert, and you say what index you want to insert it in, right? Make sure it's one that's actually exists, right? Let's say I want to insert it at 1, and I can say the name or the value that I want to put there. I'll put Harriet Tubman. Boom. So now if I do legends as list, now we have Harriet, Nipsey, Kobe, Malcolm, Madam, Asata. We got the dream team. Now I can turn this back into a tuple by saying legends as, for example, tuple, right? You can name this what you want and say tuple. I wrap it over the legends as list, enter, and now legends as tuple. And when I type that over, there it is. We have a tuple again with the new values. Okay. Okay. Nice, sweet, for sure. Okay, okay, cool, cool. Oh, John Lewis, for sure, for sure. Yep, tuple updated. So it's cool. Like that's Python list for you, Python dictionaries, just examples of how to use them. Very basic information as far as like right now how to use them, but you're going to see more creative ways on how we can do this. Okay. So what I do want to do is I want to go back to our project. Okay, and I'm gonna give you some more information on all of these data types so you can do a little bit deeper dive. But I hope that was good enough to get you going. So yeah, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So this is the assignment from last week where we were accepting input from a user, pretty much just trying to see how much experience they have, so that way we can see how much money they expect to make. Like I said, we're going to be adding a lot more information to this. Okay, a lot more information. But what I asked you guys to do for homework was just pretty much come up with the code for what happens if none of these are true. What if they didn't insert 1, 2, 3, or 4? Then what? So the correct thing to do, one option, there's different ways to do it, but one option would be just do it else right here. So if you looked up the else keyword, you just type else and then a colon, and then you pretty much print out what you want. So something like, please enter one of the valid options, for example. Okay, and then that's what will get printed out to the screen. So if I go over here and I run this code by clicking run up in PyCharm, I'm on PyCharm. We're going to see it's going to pop up in the terminal. Ask me how many years of experience, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm gonna enter 5, and then it says, please enter one of the valid values. So I'm gonna add a little sorry message there so they know. Okay, so that's really cool. One thing I also wish I would have showed you guys a little bit earlier, so I'm gonna do it right now, is you can concatenate in Python pretty cool. Like you can do concatenation. I'll show you concatenation. Pretty much concatenation is putting two things together. So you can concatenate strings. So if I want to do something like a new variable called full name equals Antoine plus, right? The plus symbol can mean concatenation. Oops. right? Cool. So when I type full name, oh shoot, you see Antoine Patton put together. So I put my name, I made a space, and I made the last name, put them all together. Okay, so you can concatenate different things together, which is pretty cool. You'll be seeing a lot of that. For example, I wanted to show you right here, I could do something like 10 times a little asterisk plus the sorry message. So what it's going to do is it's going to literally do 10 times the asterisk. So it's going to make 10 asterisks, and it's going to add that before this string right here, sorry. So let's see what happens when I run it again. 5, boom, sorry. So that way we see the sorry message. I like that right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also add it at the end. So that way it kind of stands out as, so concatenate, let's do 10 times this asterisk 10 times. So I concatenated it. So this is the cool thing. This is why I'm showing you this example, is because these symbols can mean so many different things depending on how you use them. It's called operator overloading. So the plus sign can mean add two numbers together, or it can mean literally put two strings together or put two values together. Okay. The star, the asterisk can mean multiplication. And then as you see right here, you can multiply a number times a string and get more strings. So it's kind of crazy right there. It's kind of crazy how that works. Let me just run this one more time, but you'll get used to that. So I have some reading on that, and it's also going to be an assessment. So make sure you just look over what operators are and how there's different ways. For example, with the equal sign can mean equivalence, like testing for equivalence or equality, or it can mean stores assignment, right? Storing something into a variable. So that's key. Put it as 5 once again, and then there we go. Uh-oh, that didn't work. So why didn't I get this right here, 10 times x? Because it's not an asterisk. Oops. Okay, it's just supposed to be an asterisk. I put an x. Okay, so let me see some of these comments. When it's a tuple, something like a pen will work to alter it, correct? No, remember, tuples are immutable, so you cannot add anything to it. So there's no append or there's no insert to manipulate it. Great question, though. That's a good follow-up question, just to reiterate over that. Do tuples always use parentheses versus lists and dictionaries? Yes, Mickey. Tuples, parentheses, list, brackets, dictionaries, braces. That's how we call it. Error code 59. I like that. Oh, wouldn't. Right. Yeah, Ben. My bad. You got it right. Cool. So that's how you would do that. Another thing I wanted to show you about this homework was the possibility for you to move all of, you see, we cast and we make user experience an integer for each one of these inputs, right? We made sure we turned this into an int. We could have did that all in one step. So what we could have did was we could have wrapped this with an int here, or something like that. Or we could have just made a whole new total variable and just did it one time. So let me see. I think my Python froze. 1 second. Okay, there it goes. Okay. So yeah, if I wanted to remove all of those ints, I could have just checked one time, and I could, because user experience, I shouldn't have to do it one time. So I could just say like users experience equals int users experience, right? And now everywhere I have this at, I don't have to wrap it inside of an int because I already checked it once. I already converted it to an integer one time. So we're also going to be talking about what if they didn't even insert a number, right? That's going to be a big error. So we don't want that. So we're going to talk about like the importance of fixing that and checking before we even do this check on 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's make sure that the information that they inserted is at least a number, or it's at least valid, or it's at least something there, not just blank. Okay. Oh no, I know. Yeah, no, we good. We got past that. Let me see. So another piece of information that I want to collect from the user. All right, that's another thing I want to talk about. What else do we want to collect from the user? So I also want to know pretty much like what languages do they know. If you're a developer, you told me how many years you've been coding. I also want to know what are all of the languages that you already know. So after they input their experience, we then want to ask them a question like, what programming languages do you know? What coding languages do you know? Okay, so we could do something like users coding languages, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to tell them to insert this information, but they have to insert it in a certain way. So this is where we're going to show the relationship between strings and integers. Okay, so watch this. So we're going to tell them to insert all of their languages and separate them by commas. Okay, so what languages do you know, right? And I'm going to say in parentheses, separate each language by a comma. Okay. So now that's a new input we're going to ask for, right? They're going to insert that and they're going to separate by comma. Okay. So what we're going to do is, let's see first what happens, right? Print. Actually, no. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that. It's going to be a string. We're going to take that string and we're going to need to change it into an actual comma, right? We need to really change it into, a list. So the way we do that, I'm going to show you, we say, matter of fact, I will print it out so that way you believe me and you see what it is first. So users coding languages, right? And I'm gonna type it, I'm gonna concatenate a string in. This gonna say before split. You're gonna know what I mean by that in a second. So before split, okay? And then watch what happens when I do this. User coding languages equals, this is one of those built-in functions I was telling you about. Users coding languages dot split. And you split means we want to take that string and separate it based on a specific separator. The separator in this instance is going to be comma because we told them to separate each language by column, by comma. So now I'm going to type after split. So after split was called and before split was called. And let's see what our results are. Okay. So I'm going to run this. Okay. How many years experience do you have? I'm going to put 2. What languages do you know? Separate each by a comma. Let's say I say Java, JavaScript. I'm going to say Python. I'm going to say CSS. Cool. So, oh, I got an error. Let's read this error. It says line 29, type error, cannot concatenate string and list to string. So this right here is now a list, and you cannot concatenate a list and a string together. You cannot concatenate them. Okay. So what I can do though, right? This is giving me the error, just so you know. It told me line 29. Okay. Line 29. Make sure everybody sees that error before I explain how to fix it. Okay. Okay. So line 29 is where the error is at. We got a list and we have a string. I'm trying to put them together. This one worked. If you notice, it says before split, and down here in my console, I know it's kind of small down there. Okay, there it goes. I zoomed up a little bit better. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so before split, Java, JavaScript, Python, CSS. This is what was inserted by the user, right? But then I got an error message on 29. What I can do is I can turn my list just in this one line. It's not going to totally turn it, but just right here, I can convert this into a string. So now I can do a string plus a string will work out for me. right? So that's something really cool we can do. Another option could have been just to remove this right here and don't put after split. I could put it on two totally separate lines. I'll show you that way as well. But first, look at this way. Just surround it with the string keyword. Run it again. Say I got a 4. What languages do you know? Java, JavaScript, Python, CSS, SQL. Boom. So now that works out. Before split, it was Java, JavaScript, Python, etc. After split, you see we have a list. So now we have a whole list, right? We took that person's raw input and we turned it into a list, right? So now that's easier to manipulate, to save, to store, to access, right? Easier to pass around. We now have it in a list format. Okay, so then at the end, what we want to do is we want to print out that list. For each one of these, we're going to also say depending. I'm going to do something like this. If the length, this is how you check the length of anything like a string or a list, and then it's users, coding, languages. If length is less than 3, print deduct 10K. Uh-oh, what I got? What happened here? A typo. Okay. So this is cool. So this is what I want you guys to also recreate. Check the length of how many, so this is an example of why I wanted to convert it to a list. Check the length of how many languages they typed in. If they say they know less than 3 and they only have user experience of like 1, which was 1 to less than 1 year, right? You should deduct 10K from your expected salary and learn some more languages. Okay, so this is an example of what we can do. I'm gonna copy and paste this into the to section now. And if they know less than 3, but they have between 1 and 3 years of experience, still learn some more languages, but we're just gonna deduct 5K from the expected salary, okay? I can also do something like if length of users, coding, languages, right, greater than 5, then we could say something like you're in good shape. Don't be afraid to ask for more than the expected salary. Okay, just an example. So this is how you add ifs inside of ifs. This is how you turn strings into lists, so that way you can check the items and do something cool with it, right? We didn't just turn the list into the string into a list just because. We changed it into a list so that way now we can check each item and manipulate the items, take things out, inspect it, right? We can go through each one of those and see, oh, if you know Java, this is how many jobs are available per Java, right? We can loop through that list and we can see how many jobs are available for Java. Next one on the item on the list was JavaScript. Oh, okay, let's go and see how many jobs are available for people who know JavaScript. Do the same thing for Python. So there's so many different use cases of lists and how we can use them. But I just wanted to make sure we give at least a couple examples. So I would like for you guys also just to go through and do some ifs inside of here. Okay, like add your own ifs and else ifs. Get creative. Of course, the less languages you know, maybe your salary is a little smaller, but not always, right? If you're a beast at SQL, nobody can take that away from you. If you just want to do Python, that's all you know, and you're a beast at it, that doesn't mean your salary is really going to get deducted, right? But I'm just saying, just be creative, be fun with it, and that way, just so you can get used to the language. Okay, think of it that way.